Good morning students, this is class 12th physics and in this lecture I'll be discussing the solutions of the assignment of chapter number 5 which was given to you in the last lecture. Okay, so the first question is, how many neutral points on a horizontal board are there when a magnet is held vertically on the board? Okay, so now suppose this is a vertical board and a magnet is held vertically on this board. Now you know the Earth's magnetic field points from geographical south to geographical north, and see at this point the magnetic field lines will be pointing from geographical south to geographical north for the Earth's magnetic field, and because this is north, so the magnetic field lines will be outward due to this magnetic pole. So at this point they will cancel out each other. So we can say there will be only one neutral point on the horizontal board where the magnetic field lines of Earth and the field due to magnetic pole will cancel out to give a neutral point. Okay. Okay, so the second question says a magnetic dipole is situated in the direction of a magnetic field. What is its potential energy? So now as you know the formula of potential energy is minus mb cos theta. Now if the magnet is situated in the same direction then theta will be 0 degree, so it will give you minus mb. Okay, now the next part of the question says if it is rotated by 180 degree, what would be the work done? Now again the formula is minus mb cos theta 2 minus cos theta 1. Theta 2 is 180 degree and theta 1 is 0 degree. So just put the values and you will get the answer as 2 mb. Okay, so the third question says what should be the value of angle of dip at a place where horizontal and vertical component of magnetic field are of Earth are equal. See, if they are equal, and you know the formula tangent del is bv upon bh. If they are equal, tangent del will be 1. So that means del will come to be 45 degrees. Fourth question says the magnetic dipole moment of the Earth is 6.4 into 10 to the power 21 ampere meter square. If we consider it to be due to current loop wound around the magnetic equator of the Earth, then what should be the magnitude of the current? Okay, so magnetic moment is given to you. You have to find out the current, and radius of the Earth is also given. So the question is saying consider it to be due to a current loop wound around the magnetic equator of the Earth. So you know the magnetic moment for a current loop is NIA, and area is pi r square. Okay, so let us take n to be 1. So I will come to be m upon pi r square for n equal to 1. So from by putting all the formulas you will get 5 into 10 to the power 7 amperes. Okay, so question number 5 is just formula based question. Angle of dip is given to you, horizontal magnetic component is given to you, so you can calculate easily Earth's magnetic field. It will come to be 0.8 Gauss. Okay, so the next is question number 6. So question number 6 says a magnetizing field of 1500 ampere per meter produces the flux of 2.4 into 10 to the power minus 5 Weber in a bar of iron of area of cross section 0.5 amperes. Okay, area is given to be 0.5 of the bar, and magnetizing field and flux is given. Okay, the question is saying calculate the permeability and susceptibility of the iron bar used. Okay, so now you know H is Ni and B is mu H. Okay, and one more formula you know, phi is Ba, that is magnetic moment, magnetic field dot into area. So now putting the value of B as mu H and area will be A only. Okay, so now phi is equals to mu HA. You know phi, you know H, and you know A as well. They are given in the question. So just calculate mu from here, phi upon HA. Okay. So after calculating mu, you can easily calculate relative permeability by the formula mu r is equals to mu upon mu naught. And value of mu naught you already know, that is 4 pi into 10 to the power minus 7. So when you will put the value of mu and mu naught, you will get 255. And you can easily calculate susceptibility from permeability, that is mu r into 1, mu r is equals to 1 plus chi m. So chi will come to be 254. Okay. Okay, so question number 7 says why magnetic field lines prefer to pass through a ferromagnetic material. It is because the permeability and the susceptibility of these materials, that is ferromagnetic materials, is very high. Therefore, they have a very high tendency to attract the magnetic field lines towards itself. This you have studied in your theory lecture also. So therefore, they attract most of the magnetic field lines. Okay. Okay, so the next question is you are given 3 materials. nickel, antimony and aluminium, and you have to tell how the magnetic field lines will pass through them. Okay, so first of all, nickel is a ferromagnetic material, antimony is a diamagnetic material, and aluminium is a paramagnetic material. Okay, so now you know how magnetic field lines pass through them. Okay, so if nickel is ferromagnetic, that means all the field lines will pass through it. Antimony is diamagnetic, that means it will repel the magnetic field lines and they will not pass through it. And aluminium is a paramagnetic material, that means some of the magnetic field lines will pass through it. Okay, so some are passing through it, some are getting attracted, but they are not passing through it. Okay. Okay, so the next question is question number 9. The question says a soft iron rod of volume 10 to the power minus 4 meter cube and relative permeability 1000 has 5 turns per centimeter, or you can say 500 turns per meter. Okay, now if a current 0.5 ampere is passed through the solenoid, this current I dash is passing through the solenoid. You have to calculate the magnetic moment of the rod. Okay, so now as you know, B is equals to mu naught H plus I. Remember here I is magnetization and this I dash is current. Therefore I am denoting this current by I dash, and I is your intensity of magnetization. Okay, so I will come to be B upon mu naught minus H from this formula. Now you know B is mu H and mu upon mu naught is mu R. So this will become mu R minus 1 into H. Okay, so from here, if I write down again I, it will come to be mu R minus 1, and now H is Ni, where that I is current. So therefore I am writing H is equals to Ni dash, because I dash is our current. Now you know all the values, they are given in the question. So you can easily calculate current from here. That will come to be 2.5 into 10 to the power 5 ampere meter inverse. Now we know, sorry, not current, this is intensity of magnetization. Okay, so now if you know intensity of magnetization, and you know intensity of magnetization is defined as magnetic moment per unit volume. Okay, so you have you have intensity of magnetization, you have volume, so you can easily calculate magnetic moment. It will come to be 25 ampere meter square. Okay, so the next question says what are soft ferromagnets and what are hard ferromagnets, and give one example of each. See, when we remove magnetic field from a ferromagnetic material, there are two possible conditions. Either the magnetization disappears on the removal of magnetic field, or the magnetization remains after the removal of magnetic field. So if the magnetization disappears after the removal of magnetic field, then those ferromagnets are called soft ferromagnets. And if in a material magnetization remains even after removal of magnetic field, that ferromagnet is called hard ferromagnet. Okay, so the example of a soft ferromagnet is soft iron. An example of a hard ferromagnet is alnico, which is made by a combination of aluminium, nickel, iron, cobalt and copper. Okay. Okay, so the next question says what magnetic behavior would be of a material which has odd number of electrons? See, odd number means, let us suppose there are 5 number of electrons. If there are 5 number of electrons and they are randomly oriented, that means 4 of them will cancel out because 2 will be in opposite direction, 2 will be in opposite direction, but 1 would be left. That means each atom will have some permanent magnetic moment of itself. Therefore it has a paramagnetic behavior, because in paramagnetic materials, atoms initially have some magnetic moment of their own. So that means this will be a paramagnetic material. Okay, so the 12th question says, is a magnet possible which has no poles? So the answer is yes. For example, when you have a toroid which carries current, that behaves as a magnet, even then it has no poles. Okay. Second part says, is it possible to have a magnet which has two like poles, that is two similar poles? Again the answer is yes, and you can look it like this. Suppose you have two magnets and you paste two similar poles of those magnets by glue, that is south and south are pasted by glue. So now we have a, now if you consider this as a magnet, this will be a magnet with north and north pole at the ends. So this becomes a magnet with two similar poles. Okay. Okay, the third part says if it is possible to have a magnet which has three poles. Again the answer is yes, and the example is this one only. If you see this is north, this is south, this is north, so we have three poles of this magnet now. Okay, so next is question number 13. It says we have a wire of magnetic moment M and length L. Now it is bent into a semicircular arc, and what will be its new magnetic moment? Okay, so if m is magnetic moment and L is length, we can calculate its pole strength, that is magnetic moment upon L. This you know. Now it is, if it is bent into a semicircular arc, that means length will become half, or you can say pi r. From here we can calculate radius, that will come to be L upon pi. Okay, so now if you clearly see, these are two poles of this magnets. So if of this wire, sorry. So if I calculate this distance between these two poles, that is 2r, because r is the radius. So the distance will come to be 2r, and r is L upon pi. So it will come to be 2L upon pi. Okay, so the new magnetic moment will be a pole strength into distance. So that is m into 2r. M, as we have already written, m by L, and 2r is 2L by pi. L will cancel out, so you will get new magnetic moment to be 2m upon pi. Okay, so the last question is question number 14, which says a ship is to reach a 10 degrees south of west. That is, look here in the diagram, this is the 10 degrees south of west. A ship has to reach along this direction. In which direction should it be steered if declination at that place is 17 degree west? Okay, so the angle of declination is given to be 17 degrees, and it is asked in what direction should the ship be steered. Okay, so that means it is to be steered by this much more angle. If it is 17 and this is 90, so this will be 90 minus 17 and plus 10. So the angle that he should be steered will be 90 minus 17 plus 10. That will give you 83 degrees. Okay. Okay students, so there was a topic which was left in your chapter number 4. So today in this lecture I'll be covering that topic also. So the name of the topic is magnetic moment of an atom due to revolution of electron around nucleus. Okay, so now you know in every atom electron revolves around the nucleus. So if an electron is revolving around nucleus, that is nothing but a loop of current which will have some definite magnetic dipole moment. So we will be calculating that magnetic dipole moment here. Okay, so to calculate that, first we will calculate the current due to this revolving electron. So as you know, charge is equals to IT. So I will come to be E upon T, where E is the charge of electron. And if the electron is going in a radius of r, then time will be distance upon speed, that is 2 pi r upon v. So from here current will come to be EV upon 2 pi r. Now as you know, magnetic moment is defined as current into area. Current is EV upon 2 pi r and area is pi r square. So pi will cancel out, 1 r will cancel out. You will get magnetic moment to be EVR upon 2. Now if I multiply by and divide by mass of the electron in numerator as well as in denominator, so here you will get 2m, and here you will get EVR upon m, MVR. That is nothing but angular momentum. So magnetic moment will become EL upon 2m, where L is magnetic moment, angular momentum, and your small m is mass of electron. Now, according to Bohr's theory, an electron in an atom can revolve only in certain stationary orbits in which angular momentum of electron is an integral multiple of h upon 2 pi. That is, according to Bohr theory, electron will revolve only in those orbits for which angular momentum is equal to integral multiple of h upon 2 pi, where n is an integer and h is your Planck's constant. Okay, so from here if you see MVR is nh upon 2 pi, that is L is equals to nh upon 2 pi. So L, if we put the value of L in m, you will get E nh upon 4 pi m. Okay, so now it was again written as n mu b. Okay, so from, if you compare them, you can say mu b is nothing but EH upon 4 pi m. Okay, so this mu b is called Bohr's magneton, and its value is a value of 9.9 into 10 to the power minus 24 ampere meter square. Okay, so this is called Bohr magneton. And now if we want to define Bohr magneton from here, see, m is n mu b. If n is 1, then mu b will come equal to be m. So we can define Bohr magneton as the minimum magnetic dipole moment associated with an atom due to the orbital motion of an electron in the first stationary orbit of the atom. Okay, so I'm repeating the definition once again. Bohr magneton is defined as the minimum magnetic dipole moment associated with an atom due to the orbital motion of an electron in the first stationary orbit of the atom. Okay. Okay, so the next is cause of Earth's magnetism. Although the exact cause of Earth's magnetism is not known yet, but some theories, or you can say some postulates, were given. So first was that the Earth's magnetism can be due to the Earth's rotation about its axis. Okay, so we can explain it by this. See, every substance is made up of charged particles. Therefore, due to the rotation of Earth about its axis, a substance rotating that particular element is also rotating, which has some charged particles inside it, and the motion of the charged particles is nothing but current. Okay, so we can say that current which is produced due to the rotation of Earth about its axis is producing Earth's magnetism. Okay, second point was circulating ions of iron and nickel in highly conducting liquid region. See, as you know, Earth's core is extremely hot and is in molten state. Okay, so if the core is in extremely hot and molten state, that means the ions which are rotating of iron and nickel in this region, they will form current loops and they can produce Earth's magnetism. Okay, so these were the two reasons which are given, and there are many other theories, but the exact reason is still not known, what is responsible for the Earth's magnetism. Okay.